Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so glad to have you here for this special webinar presentation with our partner, Level 10 Contractor. Before we go ahead and get started, I just want to run through a few standard Zoom things so that you know how we're going to be operating today. My name is Pam Torrey. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Ingage, and we are thrilled to have you with us for this webinar. We are using a lot of the functionality in Zoom today. So if you have a question during the course of the webinar, so that would be if you would like to ask Rich a question, if you have a question for us about the content or about one of our companies, please feel free to use that Q&A functionality. So if you run your mouse over the screen where you see my charming face talking to you, you're going to see a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Go ahead and click on that. That's where you can ask questions, and we can go ahead and either answer them right there for you or answer them live. If you have any technical issues during the course of this webinar or any comments or things you'd like to share with the class, please feel free to use that chat functionality. You're going to find that in the same toolbar along with the Q&A functionality. We do have Morgan Vera from Ingage on the line, so if you have any technical issues, Morgan will probably be the one answering those questions for you. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our partner who is here to present some really great content. We are thrilled to have Rich Harshaw from Level 10 Contractor back with us. Rich has been on the Engage webinar network before. We did a great webinar with him in Q1 that was just incredible content. I love when I can learn something from our partners, and I definitely took a lot away from that conversation. Today, we are going to be digging into local search. So our title is How to Absolutely Dominate Local Search in Less Than 12 Months. And I know this is a big concern for a lot of our customers, especially with the market getting more competitive, the cost of leads going up. We want to know, how can we do more with less? How can we do more in our area? How can we become the standard bearer for our area? So Rich, I'm so glad to have you here with us today. Take it away.
All right. Thank you very much, Pam and Morgan. So I'm going to share my screen, so hopefully everybody can see this. Please give me an affirmative yes or no, Pam. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yes, we can see.
All right. So this is how this is going to go today. I'm going to share some stuff with you on the screen, but also I'm just going to talk a lot. And there's very definitely going to be a few times when I get ahead of my slides, because this is a topic that I'm very, very familiar with. I talk about it all the time. I know it like the back of my hand. And so we're just going to kind of go where the spirit leads us, so to speak. That being said, how to absolutely dominate local search in less than 12 months. This is a mystery. Nobody understands SEO. I've spent the last 3.5 years unpacking this. My background is that I am a marketing guy. I'm a content guy. I know how to write stuff that moves the needle. I'm about messaging. I'm about identity. I'm about storytelling. I am not an SEO guy. I am not a website guy. I am not a technology guy. I'm a marketing guy. However, over the last, like I said, about 3.5, 4 years, my company sells websites and SEO. So my company has an expertise in this area. My background, my personal core competency is not in this area, but I've spent the last 3.5 years becoming a subject matter expert. And I'm going to do something for you on this webinar that's never happened before. You're going to be thrilled at the end of this, I promise you, because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to explain this stuff to you in a way that you can actually understand. Yeah, so that you can actually understand it. SEO, local search, is such a huge mystery, and everybody stands and hides behind the algorithm and says, oh, Google's algorithm changes all the time, so there's nothing you can really do about that. You're just going to have to deal with it. When things don't work, quote unquote, SEO doesn't work, it's because the algorithm, and that is complete and utter nonsense. It's absolute garbage. And we'll get into this as we go through this. I just want you to know this: the things that are important to Google, they don't ever change. Yes, some things in the Google algorithm change, but the most important things don't change. I'm going to explain to you what they are. I'm going to explain to you how to do this, and I'm going to explain to you how to actually get results and do what it says on the screen, which is dominate local search in less than 12 months. So let's get after it. 27. Here's what 27 is. We do website audits for people like you who want to understand how their website is doing. And we grade websites in 3 different areas based on what we call getting on Google's radar, number 2, ranking, number 3, conversionability. These are 3 different areas. There's about 6 or 7 different elements of each of those areas, which adds up to about 20 different elements. We take those scores, those 3 different scores, and we average them on a scale of 1 to 100. The average website audit that we do scores 27 out of 100. 27 out of 100. Now, for some perspective, I want you to put yourself back. I don't know when you grew up. I don't know how old you are. I'm 54 years old. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. And I'm going to tell you this. If I would have come home with a report card with a 27 on it, I would not be alive today. I would literally be dead. My dad would have freaking killed me if I had gotten a 27 on my report card. It never happened. And yet, here's what I'm seeing consistently over time on these audits. 27 is the average. The highest I've ever seen outside of websites that we've done is in the mid to high 50s, but typically it's going to be about 27. Now, this is what the audit looks like. You can see here, we've got 3 sections: getting on Google's radar, ranking, and conversion. This one here actually is 25. It's a little bit below 0. And again, think about it this way. Think about this as being math, science, and social studies. 29, 29, 17, and you get a 25. And yeah, like I said, I don't know how your family was or whatever, but this would not fly in my house. Yet, in the thing that is the most important element of your entire marketing program, the most important part of your marketing program, your website, it is consistently scoring across the average 27. I want you to think about that. What if your salespeople, if you had some formula for grading them, were coming out at a 27 out of 100? You would fire them instantly without any thought, without any regret. You would just fire their butts. Yet your website is scoring 27. Now, 27 measured how? 27 based on getting organic traffic to your website so that you can generate leads from specific places that you want to generate leads for, specific things that you want to generate leads for. You're scoring very, very low. It's under leveraged. All right, before we get into the how to do it and what it is, let me tell you who I am. My name is Rich Harshaw. I own an agency called Level 10 Contractor. And as you can see on the screen, I wrote a book. It's called Unlocking Unlimited Lead Flow. This is a book specifically geared towards remodeling and home services contractors. That's the only kind of industries that we work in at my company. You can see there on the subtitle, A Blueprint for Remodeling and Home Services Contractors to Make the Jump to $10 million. This book covers lots of different topics, not just SEO and websites like we're going to talk about today. It covers a lot of other stuff. Also, I have a podcast. It's called the Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast. And I get asked all the time, really? A daily podcast? Yes, really, it's a daily podcast. It started in September of 2019. We're over 1,400 episodes in. Let me make you a promise. If you go look up Level 10 Contractor Daily Podcast, and you search for any topic that you can imagine that has anything to do with marketing for contractors, I promise you, you will find that topic covered extensively. So great resource for you. That's who I am. Let's get into the content here. This slide represents the algorithm. Like I said, everybody's been lied to by all the SEO companies that tell you the algorithm is the most important thing. Yes, there's an algorithm. Yes, it's important. No, it is not hard to understand. It is very easy to understand. Now, I'm going to just kind of preview this for you. Think about this. What is it that Google is trying to accomplish? Put yourself in Google's shoes for a minute. What are you trying to accomplish? Oh, I'm trying to make $1 billion. Yeah, well, they already did that. Well, here's what they're trying to accomplish. They're trying to stay relevant by making sure that anytime somebody searches for something, that they actually find things that are actually relevant, interesting, and relevant to what they're searching for. If you search for something and you don't find relevant answers from Google, you would quit using Google. So you've got to think about it this way. How does Google determine what is relevant? That's what we're going to talk about today. How does Google determine what is relevant? And if you understand the answer to that question, here's the question again. How does Google understand? How does Google decide what is relevant? Then you are going to be well on your way to winning at SEO. All right. Oh, also, little shout out to Bing. Bing just gets a little shout out because, yes, they're kind of coming on strong, this AI thing, blah, blah, blah. Anytime I say Google, I mean search, but I'm going to use the word Google because it's still something like 90% of search. Okay. So here's what the purpose of your website is. Well, let me ask you, what is the purpose of your website? What do you think the purpose of your website is? How about this? Generate organic traffic, then convert that traffic into leads. That's what it's supposed to do. What is organic traffic? Organic traffic is when somebody goes to Google and they type in, for instance, I live in Utah, and let's say that I wanted a roofer. If I type in roofers near me, then Google's going to say, oh, here's a bunch of roofers. And that is organic traffic. When somebody goes and types in a category of what they're looking for, the results that come up that come to your website, that is going to be organic traffic. That's different than paid search, where you pay Google to run your ads, or you pay Facebook to run your ads, or you pay somebody to run ads that then drives traffic to your website. That's different. That's also important, but it's a completely separate conversation. What we're talking about today is organic traffic. When Google sends people to you because you've properly situated your website so that it becomes the right answer for what people are searching for. When your website is a precise match for what people are searching for and where they're searching, then you get leads. That's it. It's real simple. Now, here's how Google really works. This is important stuff. Make notes. Get your camera phone out and take pictures of this stuff, because this is really important. Pam,
we are recording this and we will be
Yes.
sending it out. So
Yeah,
don't worry, everyone.
yes, gonna record this. Yes. I'll also be running this episode. My podcast on Thursday will be a replay of this in audio format. Okay, so review this stuff. Google does not rank websites. That is hard for people to believe. Here's what people think. Oh, I just paid a bunch of money and I just created a new website. Look how beautiful it is. Oh, look, it's great. Awesome. Now Google's going to rank my website. To say, quote unquote, Google is now going to rank my website, it's not even the right way to talk about it. That's not how Google works. Google doesn't go, oh, well, look at this cool website. Let's start showing it to people. Here's what Google's going to do. It's not going to rank websites. It's going to rank web pages, individual pages on your website. So here's what Google is doing. When somebody is searching for something, Google looks for a page that is the most precise match possible on all of the websites that exist in the world, and it is going to show that page in the rankings to people who are searching. So again, if I live in Orem, Utah, which I don't, I live near Orem, Utah. I'm just going to say that because I don't want people to really know where I actually live. There's weirdos out there, Pam. So anyway, I live near Orem,
Don't
Utah.
I know it?
Yeah. So if I type in roofing contractor, Google's going to know from my IP address where I live, and it's going to go out to 100 billion plus pages on the internet, and Google's going to do this. Which page is the most precise match for roofing contractors near this dude's IP address? And then it's going to put those in order of relevance in the search rankings. Okay. Google is ranking web pages. Here's what your job is: to create specific pages that are precise matches for precise searches. Okay. So think about it this way. If you've got a 30-page website, the likelihood that your page on your website is going to be the most precise match for what and where that person is searching is really, really low. Now, I'm going to say this like 50 times on this webinar. What and where? This is something we call a geo keyword pair. Geo, where, keyword, what? Okay, so if I'm in Orem, Utah, the geo is Orem, Utah. The what is roofing. Okay, so you've got to create pages that are optimized for these geo keyword pairs. Relevancy is the key. Okay, so here's what you've got to do. You've got to create pages that are sending signals to Google that lets Google know what that page is and where that page is relevant. Okay, signals that lets Google know what that page is and where that page is relevant. Okay, geo keyword pairs. Now, signals are sent. This is really important. Write this list down. Let's put it all on the screen. The URL, the directories, the headers or tags, the content, and the image names. Now, let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to go over to my browser here, and I'm going to pull up a page. This is a service area directory for a company called Today's Entry Doors. This is a client of ours. And I'm going to go down here to this page called Anaheim in Anaheim Hills. Now, this is going to come up, and I want to show you some of these signals that we're sending to Google. Now, here's what I want you to try to figure out as a person that's watching this webinar. Okay, what is being sold and where is it being sold based on the signals on this page? Well, let's take a look up here in the URL, todaysentrydoors.com/service areas. This is what's called a directory. This lets Google know, hey, they're about to tell me some places that they do business. Oh, guess what? Geographic precision is hyper important to Google. Think about it this way. If I'm sitting in Orem, Utah, which I almost am, but not quite. If I'm sitting in Orem, Utah, and I look for a roofing company, and Google shows me a bunch of roofing companies in Florida, Texas, Washington State, and Nebraska, how on earth does that do me any good? And the answer is, it doesn't do me any good. And Google knows that. So here's what Google's going to do. It's going to look at every single page on your website, and it's going to say, hey, where specifically is this page relevant? Now look at this. Front entry doors. Oh, bing, 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 bing. Anaheim Hills, California. I'm telling Google in the actual URL. Now watch this. Service areas. There's this little thread here that says Anaheim and Anaheim Hills. And then this right here is what's called the H1. Now, let me explain to you what an H1 is. This is something that you need to know. You say, well, I don't know technical stuff. You're about to learn technical stuff, and you need to know this technical stuff, because if you don't know this technical stuff, you will continue to be taken advantage of, screwed, glued, and tattooed by all the SEO companies that you ever do business with. Sorry for the language, but it's true. I am so tired of doing these audits that score 27 and having these poor, lovely remodeling contractors look at me with sad eyes and say, why is it so bad? And the answer is because you don't know how to evaluate, and the company that's doing the service doesn't know how to actually do it, and you don't know it. So you're paying for garbage and you're not even aware of it. So this is what's called an H1. H stands for header. 1 stands for the first header. So this is the first main header, and this is something that is coded into the website in a format that Google understands. Hey, this is the header. And Google is looking at this header going, okay, header, tell me what it is you do and where it is you do it. And guess what? Entry doors, Anaheim Hills, California, fiberglass. There is no ambiguity whatsoever of what it is this page is about and where this page is relevant. Zero. Now, also, if you look at the, content, which is another thing, I'm going to do a little search here. I hit Control F on my keyboard. Now I'm going to type the word Anaheim in here. Anaheim, I don't know how to spell very good. Okay, you can see right here, the word Anaheim shows up 26 times on this page. Now, that's a little bit deceiving because this is called Anaheim and Anaheim Hills. So that's normally a city isn't called Orem and Orem Hills. It's just called Orem, or it's just called Anaheim. So you can actually cut this number almost in half to about 13, but still, here's what you'll see. Anaheim, Anaheim Hills, Anaheim. So in the content, look at this as I scroll down. I'm telling Google specifically where this page is relevant. Freaking Anaheim. Got it, Google? And Google's like, yes, sir. Got it. This page is relevant in Anaheim. And you scroll down and here's what you see. It just keeps being there. Not too much, not stupidly a lot, not keyword stuffed a lot, but it's in there. Oh, by the way, check this out. Map. Guess who owns Google Maps? Oh, Google. And we say, Google, look, see this line around Anaheim and Anaheim Hills? That's specifically where this page is relevant. And Google's saying to itself, oh, okay, I think I understand where this page is relevant. Now, let's go up here to the top. I want to show you something. See this picture right here? We all look at that picture and we go, oh, wow, what a beautiful home. And it's got a nice door on it. But Google is a robot, okay? It can't look at anything and appreciate or understand anything except for what we tell it. You know, garbage in, garbage out, or input in and input out, whatever. I don't know how it goes. But anyway, Google looks at this and it only knows what we tell it. So first of all, you see this little tag that pops up? That's called a meta tag. Here's what it says. New entry doors in Anaheim Hills, California. We're specifically telling Google, hey, guess what, Google? This image, which is on this page, is relevant for geo keyword pair, geo, Anaheim, keyword, entry doors. Now, watch this. I'm going to try to save this image, and it's going to tell me what the name of this image is. Here's what the name of this image is right here. Stylish entry doors, Anaheim Hills, California. I am taking every freaking imaginable opportunity to tell Google precisely what this page is, where it's relevant, and what keywords it's relevant for. Geo keyword pairs. So let's flip back over to the presentation, the URL, the directories, the headers, the content, the image names. That's everything that I just showed you over here on this page. So here's what happens. Google knows that this page is super relevant for entry doors, fiberglass entry doors in Anaheim, California. Now, you might be wondering, okay, so how does this work? What's going to happen? I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. When somebody is sitting in Anaheim, and Google knows this because it knows where their IP address is. They're sitting in Anaheim and they go to Google and they type fiberglass entry doors. Here's what Google's going to do. Google's going to go, oh, yeah, look, this page right here is super hyper relevant for that keyword term in that place. And this page you're looking at on the screen right now, this precise page is the very first thing that the person sees who is searching. They don't go to your home page. They don't go to your About Us page. They don't go to your Why Us page. They don't go to your blog page. They don't go to the galleries page. They go to this page. It becomes a de facto landing page. And therefore, and this is super important, hear me, pay careful attention. Therefore, this page must, with a capital M, it must have information and content that is relevant, interesting, and engaging. Relevant, interesting, engaging. Because if it does not, so let's say that this page sends all the right signals, the URL, the photos, the content, the H1 tag, the directory, everything is perfect, but the content sucks. Well, here's what's going to happen. Google's going to send people to this page because Google's going to say, well, it seems like it's the right page for fiberglass entry doors in Anaheim. But if Google notices over a period of time that the majority of the people that come to this page hit the back button because the information on it's really not very engaging, guess what's going to happen? Over time, Google's going to note that. Guess what? Google's noting everything. You thought Santa Claus kept a detailed list. He got nothing on Google. Google is keeping a very detailed list. And here's what Google's list is saying. Huh, interesting. People came to the page, but then they bounced right off. They didn't like it. Now, here's the question. Why would Google continue to send people to a page that it, objectively speaking, based on hard metrics, that Google knows that people don't like? And the answer, it won't. It won't. So here's the sad truth. Ready for the sad truth? This is where we talk truth and you get sad. It's very possible that you're spending money with an SEO company that is, number one, potentially not properly optimizing the pages that they're creating, or not creating pages at all in the first place that are geo-keyword optimized, so you don't even have a chance to play the game. Or if they are optimizing the pages properly, the content is weak, the content is no good, and it's possible that you're paying money for Google to hate your website. How do you like that? You're paying money and it's actually hurting you because the content is no good. How does that make you feel? You say, well, that's not realistic. Well, I'm here to tell you, the average score that I see is 27 out of 100. Rarely do companies make it out of the 40s. I would say 1 out of 50 audits that I look at is over 40. 1 out of 50, that's what, 2%? The rest are below 40. They're messing this up. And then they wonder why we're not getting organic leads. Now, I'm going to show you something here. I'm on this service area page. I'm going to scroll down and I want you to notice something. There's 9 different kinds of doors on this page. This is very specific to this company, but I'm going to click on this one called Dutch Entry Doors. Now, guess what we're going to find? We're going to find a page that's highly optimized for Dutch doors in Anaheim Hills, California. Now, notice this is in a service area directory. And if you look at the content, okay, here's the H1, Dutch doors in Anaheim. If you were to look at the content and the image names, you would see that this is optimized for Dutch doors. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to an incognito window. The reason I'm using incognito is because I don't want Google to know my search history, because if it knows my search history, it will bias towards websites I've already visited before, and I don't want it to do that. So I'm going to go in here, pretend like I'm in Anaheim. Now, Google doesn't know my IP address because I'm in ostensibly Orem. So I'm going to type in Anaheim, California, Dutch doors, okay? And I'm gonna hit enter, boom. Let's see what comes up. Okay, we got sponsored stuff here. Here's the first organic entry, today's entry doors. I wonder why. Oh, it's also the second organic entry. And if we go down here and click on it, look what happens. it goes directly to this page. Why? Because this page is the most precise match for this geo keyword pair. Now, guess what happens all the time? I'm talking to companies on the Zoom just like this, and I'm going through their pathetic website audit that scored 25, and I'm saying, hey, let's go do a search for what you sell and where you sell it. And guess what? Their competitors are coming up instead of them. I would be happy to do a website audit for you so we can have the fun experience of doing that and showing you what the problems are. I'll give you a QR code a little bit later. You can put your phone up there and you can sign up for that thing. But for now, let's get back to the presentation. Okay. Now, I warned you before we started. I said I get ahead of myself. I'm just going to talk. So we're going to probably see a bunch of slides that say stuff that I've already talked about, but let's keep going. Okay, we already looked at that. There's 3 kinds of pages that you need to be aware of on your website. There's core pages. The core pages are the main navigation of your site. Okay. Now, here's what you want to do with your core pages. You want to optimize for broad geographic areas and keywords. Okay. Broad. Let me show you what that looks like. If I go back to today's entry doors and I go to one of their core pages, which are going to be here. Let's go to the Dutch door page. That's a core page. Okay, this is not a service area page. This is a core page. You can look up here. You can see today's entry doors, explore doors, by style, Dutch door. This is not geographically optimized for Anaheim. This is a core page. Anybody can get here by just clicking through on the main navigation. Look what's happening here. Dutch doors installed in where? Orange County. Why Orange County? Because this is a broad geographic indicator. I want Google to know that my core pages, the pages that are on my main navigation, I want Google to know that these core pages are relevant anywhere in this broad geographic area. In this case, it's Orange County. Okay, now your broad geographic area, who knows if maybe it's Dallas Fort Worth, maybe it's Philadelphia greater area, whatever, wherever you happen to be. Okay, so this is core pages. The next kind of page is service area pages. And this is what I was showing you with the today's entry door example for Anaheim. These are like core pages, but they're for specific geos. They should be optimized for specific geo keyword pairs, like I talked about. These are going to be a major source of traffic to your website. If, here's the 2 ifs. Number 1, if you actually build the page. Number 2, if you actually optimize it properly. And then number 3, I said there's 2, but there's 3. Number 3 if the content is actually engaging, relevant, and interesting. So you got to have the page, number 1. You've got to execute it at an elite level, and you've got to have great content. If you do that, then it's going to be a major source of traffic for you. Then there's blog pages. Blog pages. Everybody's heard of blogs, obviously. Here's what a blog is. A blog is a piece of content that is on your website that is also geo keyword optimized for specific places and specific keywords. Okay, also a major source of site traffic. Let me show you what that looks like. I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to open a page. This is another client of mine called Sugarman's Bath. Let me get rid of this little thing. And if you look at this blog, this is their blog. And if you look at this particular blog right here, here's what you're going to see. Benefits of step-through bath inserts versus walk-in tubs for where? Escondido, California. Geo, Escondido, keyword pairs. Okay, now if you look up here, Sugarman's Bath, blog, we got to put it in the proper directory so Google knows that this is a blog. Benefits of step-through bath inserts in Escondido, California. So remember, in the URL, it's 1, geo keyword optimized. Photo, please, please, please. I haven't actually looked at this. This is where I say my prayers to the SEO gods that we actually optimize this properly. Let's see. Save as. Level 10 contractor team has nailed it again. Step through bathrooms versus walk-in tubs for your Escondido, California home. Optimized. Nailed it. And then the content, of course, interesting, relevant, engaging, geo keyword optimized. Again, the idea here is if somebody goes onto Google and they type in, hey, Google, what's better? What is this? A step-through bathtub or a walk-in tub? And Google goes, you know what? I have precisely the right thing for you. And by the way, they happen to be sitting in Escondido, California. Now, you might say to yourself, okay, well, what if they're not in Escondido, California? Pam, what do you think?
If they're not in that part of California, so you're in a universe I don't know, because I work for national companies, so we don't do geotagging. But so I'm assuming that it would direct you someplace else to whoever in your area had the best possible content there.
The answer
unless
is
Sugarman's has other stuff.
the answer is, well, we sure as heck better optimize for a different geo. Okay, so basically what we do is we take that same blog post, we do not copy and paste because Google hates duplicate content.
Yeah.
But we rewrite it. We do not use AI. We do not use ChatGPT. Google freaking hates ChatGPT. If your SEO company is using ChatGPT, get ready to get screwed and you're going to lose. But here's what we have to do. We have to rewrite the content and re-optimize it for a different geo. Now, people hear that and they're like, wait a second, that sounds like a lot of pages that I got to create. You mean I got to create a page for the difference between step-through bathtubs versus walk-in tubs in Escondido, and also Chula Vista, and also, I don't know, what else we got here?
That looks like Claremont, California.
Claremont, yeah, whatever. And the answer is absolutely, because this is how you win at SEO. Look, you showed up today to learn how to dominate search, local search in less than 12 months. I'm teaching you right now. You've got to create pages that are optimized for geo keyword pairs. And if you want to dominate in Chula Vista, California, or if you want to dominate in Escondido, California, or if you want to dominate in Orem, Utah, then you have to create pages that are specifically optimized for that geo keyword pair. You say, well, I don't like that because I want to show up everywhere in my area. Well, guess what? Then you've got to create pages that allow you to show up in all of those specific areas. Because if you don't, here's the promise, you will lose to companies who do. That simple. Okay. So we got core pages, service area pages, and blog pages. The service area pages and blog pages are going to be the major traffic drivers for you. The core pages also can drive traffic, but again, they're optimized for a broad geo because we need Google to know that they're relevant for all of those different areas. Okay. Now, here's a good analogy for you. SEO is war. All right. SEO is war. Determine where it is you want to dominate, what you want to dominate. And here's how the analogy goes. Think about a war. The way that you fight a war is not that you just go fight the whole war all at one time, all over the place, everywhere, all at once. That's not how it works. Here's what you do. Within the war, you fight specific battles. And as a general or a commander in that war, it is your job to determine where to spend your resources, troops, ammunition, resources, etc. You've got to determine which battles are the most important, most relevant to fight in at any given moment. For SEO, to use the analogy, the troops are analogous to pages. So if you want to win a specific battle, let's say Orem, Utah roofing, or Escondido tub to shower conversions, you've got to put troops into that battle. What are the troops? They're going to be service area pages and they're going to be blog pages. Service area pages and blog pages. Here's a little tip for you. The more troops that you put in that are the more highly optimized as possible, the more likely you are to win in those battles. Okay, so again, you've got to determine where you want to dominate, what it is you want to dominate for, what keywords, and then create service area blog pages that are optimized for those geo keyword pairs. Those are the troops, like I just said, that you're going to put into that battle, and they have to be executed at an elite level or they're not going to work. You can't just send, a 13-year-old kid who's wearing cut-off jean shorts and a t-shirt with a pop gun into battle. Doesn't work. He gets what's called slaughtered. Here's what you do. You train them up and you send them in highly optimized. Now, I'm going to go back to this and share this with you one more time. I'm going to go back here to today's entry doors. And we are at, let's go back one more page. This is the service area page for entry doors in Anaheim Hills. Okay. I want you to notice here, we've got 9 different pages for 9 different kinds of doors. So if you look at this particular website, here's what you're going to see. 10 total service area pages specifically geared towards Anaheim with slightly different keywords. One of them is going to be based on Dutch entry doors. Another one's going to be based on contemporary doors. Another one on double Dutch doors. Another one on side entry doors, and so on for 9 different kinds of doors. And you say, again, Do I have to be that specific? And the answer, absolutely, positively, yes, you do. Okay. Keywords per page. All right, let's talk about this. How are we looking on time? We're good. We're getting close here. We're kind of honing in on this thing here. If your pages send a lot of clear signals, Google's going to recognize those keywords on your pages. The more keywords Google recognizes, the more chance you will have for a precise match. If Google is not recognizing very many keywords, it's because the signals are weak or non-existent. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a report. Okay. The more pages, well, let me show you this first. Most pages begin with 30 or 60 core pages. And then what we're going to do from an SEO standpoint is you're going to add service area and blog pages that are optimized for specific geo keyword pairs. That should make sense to you now in our analogies. Those are you got to determine where you want to put troops into the battle. Okay. Like I said, the more properly optimized pages you add, the better chance you have of winning. So here's this audit that I showed you earlier that was scoring 25. Now, if you look here, total pages on the website, they've got 30 core pages, 10 blog pages, 40 service area pages, 1 landing page for a total of 81 pages. But on this entire website, they only have 303 keywords that Google is recognizing and ranking at all. 303. Now, if we look at a report, this is a report that shows us for this website, okay? This is the report. It shows us how many keywords are on each page of the website. So the highest number of keywords that are ranking on any page on this website is 46. And it's this page right here. 6% of the traffic of this website is going there. Then you've got their homepage, which is getting 94 almost percent of the traffic. It has 38 keywords that are being ranked. Now you might think to yourself, wait a second, but we wrote a lot more keywords onto that page when we created that page for the website. Why is Google only ranking it for 38? And the answer is because Google's only going to rank keywords if it thinks that they're relevant and useful to people. So let me show you some problems on this report. First of all, the highest number of keywords on any page is 46. Look at these pages down here. You've got 10, 16, 14, 9, 8. But look at this, percentage of traffic. Okay, when you see less than 0.01%, here's what that really means. Nothing. Zero. All of these pages are getting zero traffic. Why? Because Google sent traffic to those pages ostensibly at some point in the past and noticed, guess what? People don't like those pages. So now Google's sending nobody to those pages. And it's pushing those pages down, 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 down in the rankings. Why would Google continue to send people to pages that it knows that people don't like? And the answer, again, once more, it wouldn't. Okay. Now, this is what the audit looks like for today's entry doors. It scores a 90, 88 getting on the radar, 89 for ranking, 92 for conversion. Okay, look at this. 41, show it to you bigger. 41 core pages, 148 blogs, 137 service area pages, 1 landing page, 354. 8,142 keywords on this website. In other words, there are 8,142 chances that Google is going to rank this for something. Now, that doesn't mean it ranks on the first page. It doesn't mean that it's the highest ranking thing, but at least it has a chance, as opposed to this 303 total ranking keywords on the entire site. Now, if you look at the today's entry doors, here's what you're going to see. The highest page has 542 keywords that Google is ranking on that page. It's getting 2.5% of the traffic. You think, well, 2.5%, that's not very much. Well, when you consider that the entire website has 354 pages, divide that by 100. For any singular page to get over 1 or 2% means it's getting a lot. Okay, this page has got 379 keywords. So here's what you've got to ask yourself. Would you rather have your highest pages on your website be ranking for hundreds and hundreds of keywords and getting X% of the traffic? Or would you rather have it look like this? And this is what it looks like when you get a 27 on your website audit. It's a disaster. If 93% of your traffic is coming to your homepage, here's what that means. Let me be super clear with you so there's no misunderstanding. If 94% of the traffic, organically speaking, is coming to your homepage, that means that none of the other pages on your website are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're not driving any organic traffic. And people sit there and they pull their hair out and they say, geez, Rich, why does my website not give me any leads? They told me it would give me leads. They promised me I'd be on the first page. And the reason it's not giving you any leads is because it is not geo keyword optimized properly. It doesn't have enough of the right kinds of pages, and the pages that it does have are not optimized properly for geo keyword pairs. And the content that's on your website probably, very likely, sucks. You say, well, what do you mean it sucks? It means it was written by some dude, probably in India, maybe Indiana, but probably India, and it's just garbage. Now, this goes back to earlier on this webinar. I told you, coming into this webinar, I said, me personally, not my company, but me personally, not an SEO guy, not a web guy. I'm a marketing guy. That's my core competency. I've been writing marketing. If you would have come to me literally 30 years ago in the mid 1990s, here's what I would have done for you. I would have rewritten your Yellow Pages ad, and it would have got 5 to 20x response compared to what it used to get before you hired me to rewrite it. Okay, it's a content thing. Now, the medium used to be Yellow Pages. Obviously, that's not what it is anymore. There's lots of different media now, radio, television, magazines, mailers, all this kind of stuff. But we're talking right now specifically about your website. So here's one of the things that allows us to do this in a way that actually freaking works. Because number one, we know how to build the website so that it's optimized properly, like we just talked about. But when we write the actual content, it's coming from a background of marketing, which actually is storytelling, and it actually is good, relevant, interesting content, so that when Google sends people there, it notices that, oh, guess what? People actually like this content. Okay, now watch this, right? I showed this to you before, 542, all these keywords on here. This is what we call proof that what I'm saying actually is working. All right. Let's say that you have a website that has 50 core pages, which is pretty typical for a website. And let's say that you add 100 troops per year. Now, remember what a troop is in our analogy. It's a page. After 5 years, you're going to have a 550 page website. If you add 200 troops a year, after 5 years, you're going to have a 1,000+ page website. You say, well, that's going to cost a lot of money. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money. But here's the thing. Once you put those troops into the battle, they're going to be there forever. They're going to stay there forever. So if we put 10 service area pages into Anaheim for today's entry doors, 5 years from now, guess what's going to still be there generating traffic and leads? Oh, those 10 troops that we put into that battle. So think about that compared to other kinds of advertising. You go spend money on radio and TV, which, look, we've got, I think, $10 million a year roughly of TV and radio under management in our agency. We do a lot of TV and radio. I love TV and radio. If you want to do TV and radio, call me. We're awesome at it. However, when you spend money on TV, next month, you got to spend it again. And the month after that, you got to spend it again because it goes away and then it's gone. You have to keep spending it. With SEO, the great thing about it is you put those 10 troops into battle. They're still there next month, the next month, the next month, the next month, the next year, the next year, the next year, the next year. They stay there forever, okay? Soon enough, you'll be undefeatable everywhere for everything. So you say, well, let me give you the example of today's entry doors. Guess how many cities there are in Orange County, California that this company competes in? Answer, 52. 52 cities in Orange County, California. So if we create an average of 10 service area page, 10 pages, whether they're service area or blog pages, geo keyword optimized pages, for every one of the 52 cities over the next few years, they're going to have 520 pages of blogs and service area pages. Now, here's the truth. The truth is not every battle is equally as important. So if you go and you look on their website, you'll see that they got a ton of service area pages for Anaheim. It's a really important city for them. If you look at Aliso Viejo, which is a neighboring city, not as important. The demographics aren't as good. Their sales history there is not as good. The age of the home. So we've just got 1 or 2 service area pages there. You put the troops, strategically speaking, where you want to win the battle. Okay. Now I'm going to give this to you real quickly, and then we're going to be basically done. I'll start taking some questions. If you got questions, type them into the thing, and Pam will read them to me here in a minute. 60-20-20 rule. Here's what it is. It's about the algorithm. Here's what's important in Google ranking your website. 60% is the quality, and I'm also going to add quantity of the content. 20% is technical stuff, and 20% is keeping up with the algorithm. Okay. Now I'm going to look at these in reverse order. The algorithm. Okay. The algorithm does make changes periodically, but you know what? They're generally well known. Everybody's like, oh, it's secret. We don't know what Google's doing. And there is truth to that. Google is this weird black box of some nonsense, but mostly not nonsense. Mostly the stuff that's inside that black box, we know what it is. Usually the changes are based on new technology. So here's an example for you. It's called Core Vitals. This came out about 2.5 years ago. Google announced it. Everybody knows this. Here's what it says. Google comes out with this initiative called Core Vitals that is relevant to mobile website speed and user experience. Okay. So if you've got a website that is really slow on mobile, then Google's going to ding you for that. Google doesn't want slow websites on mobile devices. Now, mobile devices tend to run slower because they have less processing power than, say, a desktop or a laptop. So you've got to create a website. Everybody's known this since 2020. What are we in? 2021. Everybody's known this. So guess what? There's still companies out there that are building, web development companies are still building templated websites that are on what we call fat theme code, which means there's a bunch of code in there that you don't need because it's a template that can be used for any kind of company. And so it slows the website down. This is not a best practice starting in 2021. Okay. But everybody knows this. Fat theme versus thin theme sites. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. This mobile speed, 3 out of 100 for this website. How do you think this website's going to do when Google notices that it has a 3 speed out of 100 on mobile? Google's going to look at this website and fly at the freaking bird. It hates this website. Okay, the other, so remember 60, 20, 20. The first 20 was the algorithm. Second 20, technical stuff. This is stuff that we already talked about. It's sending the right signals, having the proper coding and organization. This just allows you to be considered for ranking. Now, let me be very clear. When I say 60, 20, 20, people are like, oh, so the 20% is not that important then. Okay, 20% of your car is the freaking wheels. And if you don't have them, you're not going anywhere. Full stop. Literally, no pun intended, actually pun intended, full stop. You're not going anywhere without wheels. But the engine is really, really important for your car. It's probably the 60. So we can't look at it and say, well, because it's 20%, it doesn't matter. Yes, you have to understand the algorithm and keep up with it. Yes, you have to understand the technical stuff and send the proper signals and organize your website and execute it at an elite level. Yes. Okay, but here's what's really important, engaging content. Google's going to monitor, like I said earlier, this is a review, how humans interact with content. The content must be relevant to the search, scratch the itch for what the person was searching, interesting and engaging, diggable. Okay, wow, what's diggable, Rich? Diggable means that you actually help people find additional content on your website by giving them links on your website to other stuff that they can find additional information. Okay, I'm not going to go into that in detail because we're hitting a time crunch here, but this is important. And then here's what happens. Dwell time goes up. Dwell time means how long do people stay on the site and how many different pages do they visit on the site? And when dwell time goes up, Google takes notice and goes, oh, guess what? People love that page. And if cumulatively you've got tons of pages on your website that people love, then here's what's going to happen. Something called domain authority, which is a measurement of how important your entire freaking site is going to go up. And that means that Google is going to give better consideration to any new page that you add. So for instance, if you add 100 crappy service area and blog pages to your website over the next year, and Google looks at them and says, these suck, these are terrible, and it starts not showing them to people, then the next time you come in and put 5 or 10 new blog posts and service area pages on there, Google's going to shrug its shoulder and go, I know what you do. You put garbage on here. Why would I even consider that garbage? Meanwhile, if you put great stuff, executed at an elite level, and you keep putting that stuff on there more and more and more, then you put more new stuff later, Google's going to go, hey, I already know you're hitting home runs. This stuff is awesome. And it's going to be weighted heavier right up front. Okay. People have to actually like the content on your site better than they like the content on other sites. That's really where the rubber hits the road. Okay. I think we're going to end up here. This is on the screen. Use your QR code. If you'd like me to do an audit on your website, you can just go to type into your browser level10audit.com, or you can use the QR code, or you can send me an email, and let's take questions.
Yeah, we've had a few questions come in during the course of the conversation. So I'm just going to go in timestamp order and we'll knock them out. So our first question says, as far as Google web page ranking, does it matter to have the service area at the top of your page rather than the bottom?
Okay, so
I think this is about headers, right?
Here's what this person is asking about. They're asking about Well, what if it's up here at the top versus what is very common is to put service areas down here, which maybe they're on here. I'm not really sure. The answer is it doesn't matter, because
Okay.
understand the service area link on your website, which in the case of this one is right here at the top, it does not exist so that people can come to your homepage and go, hey, I wonder if they do business in Anaheim. I don't know, let me check. Okay, let me click it. Oh yeah, here's Anaheim. Oh yeah, they do business where I live. This doesn't exist for that purpose. It exists so that people will find this page first in search, how I previously discussed. So if you put it at the top, if you put it at the bottom, it's irrelevant. We put it at the top just so people can see it, but it doesn't really matter. The bottom
But
is
it needs to be there regardless.
need to be there. You can't just bury it so that you can't link to it. Otherwise, Google doesn't like that.
Yeah. All right. Next question is, do full states work okay for core pages before nailing down to tighter local areas if your service area is that big? So let's say you
Yes.
cover a whole state. Does that work?
It does. It's so the broader you go, the less optimal it is. But if you cover the entire state, then you probably don't have much choice in that regard. Now let's dig down on that just a teeny bit. Let's say that the state is Texas. Okay, well, that's big. If you're going to be in Texas, then I'm going to recommend that you optimize separately for Dallas-Fort Worth and for Austin and for Houston and for San Antonio and other areas. And unfortunately, okay, so here's how the calculus works on this. If you're truly that big of a company that's all over the state, then ostensibly your company is big. So you need to pony up the money to optimize a gazillion pages on that site.
Yeah.
And if you're a small company trying to optimize for the whole state, that's not a very good strategy. That's like a little army going into battle going, we're going to fight everybody. No, you're going to get killed really quick is what's going to happen.
That makes a lot of sense. All right, our next question, this sounds pretty specific, but I think it's about some of the ethical conversations that you've been having about companies sort of fleecing their customers. So this person says the company that built their website, who is also hosting it, they're adding backlinks to their website from this company's blog articles that this owner wrote themselves. Is that ethical or a normal practice?
Well, without knowing what the details are of those, well, first of all, it's ethical. It's not unethical. Unethical would indicate that it's somehow trying to skirt the rules somehow. It may not be good strategy though.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's not really going to help you to have somebody backlink to a website that has nothing to do with what you do for a living. Like if the company has nothing to do with it.
Okay, so let's talk about backlinks quickly, because those who are in the SEO space may have very specifically noticed that I went through this whole rant on SEO without ever mentioning backlinks, when in fact, when you go talk to a lot of SEO companies, it's one of the very first things they bring up. Links are a thing. They're relatively less important in this industry because to get high quality backlinks is very, very difficult. And here's what I mean by that. If you've got a link coming into your website that's considered a backlink, if the source that you're linking from is not a how shall we say, relevant and important source, then Google doesn't care where it's coming from. So that's kind of like the genesis of this question. Hey, there's some rinky-dink blog somewhere that somebody's linking to. Yeah, if it's rinky-dink and neutral, Google's going to look at it, shrug its shoulders, and go, so what? If it's rinky-dink and it's kind of spammy, then Google's going to look at that and go, what are you linking to this crap for? This is stupid. But the reality is we do backlinks for our clients, and we do them to the extent that's available and possible, but we don't focus a ton of attention there. Let me give you this last tidbit. Okay. When it comes to SEO, always remember what I'm about to say right now. There's a saying that goes like this: you don't have to outrun the bear. You only have to outrun the other guy who's also being chased by the bear. Okay. So you're not competing against Google as much as you're competing against the other companies in your service areas that you're competing against in their website. So unless there's some company out there that you're competing against that is just somehow killing it with backlinks, and they've got backlinks to freaking NBC, ABC, Fox News, CNN, the local newspaper, the local senator's office, etc., which, by the way, they don't.
No, they don't.
then you can go out compete them on creating the right kinds of pages, geo keyword optimized for the places and things that you want to be selling.
Cool. So we have two more questions. How many references do you need to a city in a blog article? How many is too many? How many is too few?
So here's the rule of thumb. If it reads weird, it's too many.
So it's like the
If you're
smell
looking
test.
for roofing in Orem, Utah, then we're your Orem, Utah roofer, because we've done more roofs in Orem than any other roofer has done in Orem. And it just sounds dumb. Generally, what you're going to look for on a blog page or a service area page is 5 minimum of the local geo, 10. Now, this is going to depend on how many words. So we're going to shoot for about 750 words total. And then we're going to look for about 5 to 10 instances of that word. So if you do the math on that, it's going to be about 1%. Okay, that's a really, really rough rule of thumb. And then you can also throw a couple of broad geos in there. Okay, but you want to make sure that your H1s and your URLs and your images are all geared towards the specific geo.
Great. So let's hit our last question, and then we will go ahead and wrap up. Our final question, and I think this is something that really makes a lot of people anxious when they look at the amount of content that they need to have on their website. Do people need to do they need to do upkeep or updates on these pages once they're up? Will that matter to Google, or can they just be up?
Well, so it depends on what you mean by upkeep. So you don't have to go into the page and dust it and polish it, so to speak. But here's what you do need to do. First, number one, you need to run a technical audit on your website every single month that looks for any kinds of errors or warnings that are going to pop up. And these things will just randomly pop up from time to time. So if you find a page that has an error or a warning, for instance, a common error would be that you're linking on that page to something else in your website, and that page has changed and that link no longer works.
Yes, dead links. We hate them.
Yeah, so you've got to find stuff like that. Also, here's what you need to do. And this is very nuanced. And I'll take it for what it's worth. If you create a page on your website that's geo keyword optimized for Orem roofing, and you notice that Google is not giving that page any traction, both in terms of keywords that it's ranking on that page and or actual traffic that it's sending to that page, then you need to look at it and say, okay, something is not working. What is not working? Have we not optimized it properly? Do we need to add more keywords? Do we need to overhaul the content? And we do this for our clients all the time. Look, we follow formulas that we know work, and also because it's SEO and because it's Google and because there is some weird crap inside that black box, sometimes despite your best efforts, what you're doing just isn't working. And what you've got, okay, I'm gonna tell this real quick story. This is a repeated story, but I'll tell you the worst version of it. 600 or 700 service area pages on a website that I audited. 600 or 700, and less than 100 total keywords for those, let's call it 600 pages. Okay, who is the person that is making the decision to just continually blindly add service area pages when none of them are working?
Wow.
That's just dumb.
Yeah.
And yet it happens all the time. Sorry, that was kind of a creepy Joe Biden thing. Whisper.
Well, so that I think leads us to our conclusion, which is if you are looking for some more help on this topic, if you would like to have your website audited, if you need an expert on this topic, please scan this QR code and reach out to Rich and schedule a time with him. There really isn't anyone better to help you out with this topic in the industry. You will get expertise and it will improve your site. Thank you so much for, oh, go ahead, Rich.
Let me add this just quickly. When you talk to me, you'll be talking literally specifically to me.
Yeah. It is literally Rich's link. I've booked on it before. So thank you all so much for joining us. We will be sending out the recording of this and posting it to our landing page. So you'll be able to watch this recording, pause it, take notes on it, really get all of the information that you can out of this content. Thank you again, Rich, for being here today. We're so glad to have you back and look forward to having you on next time.
My pleasure. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.